Okay, so I'm gonna go over like just a couple headlines that have nothing to do with Cove, just real quick, because there's things that people need to know. Because the media will try to make it things look a certain way. And my thing is like we need to be transparent about everything. Arizona police officer who fatally shot man in a wheelchair is fired. Okay. Hold on. An Arizona police officer has been fired amid outrage over the killing of a suspected shoplifter who was in a motorized wheelchair and moving slowly away from officers when he was shot in the back multiple times. Surveillance videos released by the police department showed Officer Ryan Remington of Tucson, police department slowly walking behind 61-year-old Richard Lee Richards through a parking lot outside a Walmart on a Monday evening. Okay. Richards had been accused of stealing a toolbox from Walmart. Richard brandished a knife at the employee at one point, police said. Do not go into the store, sir. Remington can be heard yelling. As Richards continued to approach the entrance, Remington fired 9 shots that hit Richard in the back and the side. Richard slumped over forward, fell onto the ground, and there he was. And then they handcuffed him after he died. The only reason why I'm bringing this up is because the man was a white man, so nobody's really going to hear too much about this. And my issue with that is we want to have a real conversation, right? Everybody wants to say we need, first of all, I don't believe in abolish police. I believe in we need like better psych tests for police who getting ready to grab guns. Listen, I don't have their job. I don't know what they go through or what they do, but we could have had like a real conversation. I'm sure there's people inside the police force who think, yeah, we can have a real conversation on how things can be better. But instead, last year, it turned into everything but a real conversation. And so then you have stories like this, but because it doesn't fit the narrative that it's a black man who's in the wheelchair, we don't talk about it. I don't want nobody to be shot for no reason, no matter what color the person is, right? And we missed the chance to have a real conversation. So maybe he felt like he had to shoot him. I don't know. I saw the video. It was pretty egregious. It was because they shot him in the back and the wheelchair was kind of slow. If he had a knife, I mean, it's one thing if you want 2 feet with a knife and then you might come and attack. It really was egregious. It was pretty bad. The guy slumped over. And like I said, we could have had a real conversation. But you see, this is a good point, right? This right here would be something that CNN, everybody should be talking about, right? But they're not going to talk about it. So I use this to show you corporate press is not your friend. They only want the stuff that's salacious and scandalous so they can have headlines. This right here is not going to be a headline because they don't really want to solve anything, right? Okay. So it was a pretty sick video to watch too. But okay. Then the reason why I'm bringing this up, more dissent as Kamala Harris braces for a loss of another top aide. Y'all know this lady. I actually was following her on Instagram for a while. Top advisor, chief spokeswoman for Vice President Kamala Harris, Symone Sanders, is set to resign from her position by end of the year, according to multiple reports that come amid rumors of rising tensions in the White House. A source informed CNN that both, now this is from the Washington Examiner, but anyway, a source informed CNN that both President Joe Biden and Harris know the decision and says Sanders has served honorably for 3 years. The president and vice president are grateful for Symone's service and advocacy for the White House. She's a valued member. We're grateful, blah. News of Sanders' departure comes amid reports of turmoil between Vice President and President Joe Biden. Another staffer to Harris, who like her new boss faces low approval ratings, has also recent headed for the exit. Okay, so all right. So yeah, so she's leaving. The reason why I bring up Symone Sanders is because I remember during the race when it was like between Joe and Donald Trump, you know, she went through loops and bounds for Joe Biden. The black community actually would start. Well, I don't know. I can't say the black community. Like, because I don't like to lump everybody in once all together. But I'll say this: mainstream community was kind of paying attention to some of the stuff that comes out of Joe Biden's mouth at that time. because Charlemagne was like, yo, Joe says certain things. I don't like what he says. And I remember this woman sat there and said, sometimes you just, we don't want to pay attention to like the speech. We got a bigger picture at hand. We need to get the racists out the White House. The racists out the White House, the racist Donald Trump, right? And so she went through all this, she shucked and jived for the Biden-Harris administration, because I think that she really thought that in all the mud equity and mud inclusivity and mud diversity that she was going to get to be like the speaker for the White House, right? Like what Jen Psaki does, right? But she didn't. She didn't get to be the speaker. They gave it to Jen Psaki, and then like Jen Psaki, like the other lady who goes, the other lady who speaks at the White House, she is a Black woman. I forgot her name, but it wasn't Symone. And from already right there, she was Saudi. They made her she was Saudi. She was like upset. They made her Kamala Harris's like assistant. Okay. And so she's leaving. They're trying to say like, oh, because of the tensions in the White House. I personally think she's leaving because none of them are probably giving her any play, because I haven't heard anything from Symone Sanders since after the election. But I mean, I think she got engaged and all that, and kudos to her. Now, I may not have her political views. I don't have to agree with her on everything. I may not agree with her on anything, but I can say that she was used. And this is the stuff that I'm talking about. This is why I believe in staying true to myself as a person. I don't just do something because it seems cool and Black to do it. You have to stay true to yourself and represent correctly. And when you do, you get better results, because you did all that. And now you're going to end up leaving, right? So I just feel like, not even just, I just feel like, I saw this coming a mile away. I was like, they're using that lady and they're not going to do anything for her. Just like Kamala Harris, by the way, who, I mean, her approval ratings are ridiculously low, right? But this is what happens too when you start just putting people in the White House based on the color of their skin. Everybody, I remember, you want to know how Kamala Harris got elected to be vice president? It was because Puff Daddy and all these other TIs and all sorts of Joe Biden better pick a Black woman vice president to go along with him. So of course he did. He picked Kamala Harris, who had just called him a racist during the primaries. He picked her to go by his side so he could get, I guess, the Black vote or whatever. So he could look like, for optics, that he was a part of a Black something, right? So, and that's why I say I don't need all that, because at the end of the day, that more representation, that kind of representation isn't going to mean anything. I do believe in representation. I do believe that Black people should be represented a certain way, right? But they don't, mainstream, they don't do that. And so they put Kamala Harris on, who doesn't know what she's doing, who gets confused, and she don't know what she's doing. She gets poor ratings. And then I don't personally think her and Joe get along. She called a man a racist. It was weird. But they did it for more representation, just like they did that to Symone Sanders. So here we are today. Symone, she's leaving. So good luck to Symone. Hopefully this is an eye-opener for her, and I wish her all the best, and I hope that she has amazing things planned in the future. Write a book. Tell us what happened in there. Tell us what went down, and not from the lens of mud equity, okay? When I say mud, that means I'm BSing the word. Not from the lens of equity. Not from that lens. Tell it from your lens. I want to give some good news at least. Oh my gosh. I want to give some good news at least. Federal judge orders nationwide pause on CMS COVID-19 vaccine mandate for healthcare workers. That's what's up. That's what's up. Hold the line. Hold the line, y'all. A Louisiana federal court has granted 14 states bid for a preliminary injunction that not only halts CMS, which is Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, rule requiring COVID-19 vaccination for all healthcare workers in their own states, but across the entire nation, guys. All right, so this is a good thing, and I'm not going to read everything, but they saying, vaccinated healthcare workers in other states, okay, so they need protections for civil liberties, yes. But they're going to go to like a Supreme Court about this, okay? So it was announced early in November, and everybody was supposed to have their vaccines by January the 4th. So right now it's on hold, and they're going to see with Supreme Courts and if they're going to just put it back on or shut it down completely. Okay. And we pray that they shut it down completely. So I know that one of the jobs that I actually just quit Then they sent out an email saying like, all right, our mandate, we're going to push it back to March because the CMS had a halt. This is actually how I found out about this, because this is not on CNN. This was on Tucker Carlson, but it's not on your local news. I'm sure CBS3 or whatever you're watching. I highly doubt that they talked about this. Maybe they did, but I don't think they did. So I'm telling you. So this is a good thing. So then, yeah, my job sent the email saying that they're going to push it back to March because they're like, we just want to keep people safe and we think that they're going to put it back on anyway. So we're just pushing it to March. And I'm like, well, kudos to them for even sending the email, because that's what prompted me to go look this up online, or else I wouldn't have known. I mean, eventually I would have known through the people that I follow on Twitter, but it just wasn't a headline. And this is a huge headline. Okay. So then, of course, people, we're trying to keep people safe. So that's why the mandates, we're trying to keep people safe. How are y'all still saying that when the CDC has conceded that you can still catch and spread the disease? Why mandate it? It is selfish for healthcare workers to not take the jab and then work with sick people, but you can still get it and give it. So I don't get how this could ever be a mandate. I don't even get that thought. Let's equate that. It's selfish for you not to get the jab and work with sick people and give them COVID, but you still can get the jab and catch and spread COVID at the same amount as an unvaccinated person. The viral load is still the same, right? So why is it that everybody gets so worked up about that? I don't know how people can equal the same. That's selfish of you not to take it. I could still catch and spread it. So I'm not saving anybody when I take it. I'm not helping anybody out. And I might be picking up some adverse reactions. Okay. And I'm hoping that they shut it down completely, because I know a lot of people getting ready to leave the nursing field, even over this, and even still after, because this right here just shows you like, one day people could just wake up and just tell you nonsense. And if you don't believe it, your livelihood is on the line. This opens my eyes, period, to life. Like, you can sit here to make this point. You can sit here and go to work. You spend 30 years going to work as whatever, not even just a nurse, just as whatever, getting there on time. You never call out. They ask you to stay, you stay longer. You've been a great employee. And hey, maybe you have muscular dystrophy, some sort of autoimmune disease where that you can't just be willy-nilly taking vaccines, right? And then you go ahead and they tell you have to take this jab or else you're going to lose your job. After you gave your blood, sweat, and tears to this company, they will drop you over a shot that you medically cannot take. This has opened my eyes to so much. It has. It makes you think very differently about what you're giving your blood, sweat, and tears to. Because one day they could just get up and make up a random rule and tell you can't come to work. I'm not telling nobody to just up and quit their jobs either, but it's an eye opener. It is. So that's a bit of good news. And we're just going to end off with this ridiculous, everything comes. Okay. Germany announces nationwide lockdown for the unvaccinated. Why? I'm only going to read the first paragraph because Germany on Thursday announced nationwide lockdown for the unvaccinated as its leaders plans for mandatory vaccination coming in months. Unvaxxed people will be banned from accessing all but the most essential businesses, such as supermarkets and pharmacies, to curb the spread of coronavirus. Outgoing chancellor, okay, so they announced this on Thursday. So we're going to stop right there. So, okay, so yeah, now Germany's, going into some lockdown for the jab. You have Australia they have quarantine facilities. These things are happening in other countries. They're not happening here yet because that pesky old constitution that, people like Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, those people, they hate that constitution because then they really can't fully have their way with us. Anyway, all this because of the Omicron, however, or like how Joe says it, the Omicron, right? So, and Joe today has a litany apparently of things that he's getting ready to announce because of the Omicron, the same virus that, by the way, yes, it is here in America. We already know. It's a mutation of COV. Like, there's so many different ones, okay? So, they're gonna announce all these different plans, travel bans and all this, and they're making it harder. Like, so they're saying like if you go away, and they're gonna make it harder for testing to come back home. Why? The South African doctor, she said when they got wind of this new mutation, they're like, we were just telling people like that there's a new mutation out here to look for, to just be aware. She said, but as of now, we have not had any crazy symptoms. The only person I have really on a ventilator with COVID, I'm not even sure if it's the Omicron or the Delta variant that they have. I don't know what variant they have. She's like, it's really, these symptoms are mild, and I don't know why the world is acting like this and almost ostracizing all of South Africa. Yeah, and then that makes the person feel like we shouldn't have said nothing, right? So all these crazy restrictions are getting ready. They're optics to mess with your head. Okay, that's what I believe now. It's optics to mess with your head. So if you had a decision that you wasn't going to take a jab, and now you say, well, maybe because the Omicron is here, I'll take it. A jab that they're gonna say, well, to get the jab anyway, we're trying to see the data, and then they'll make the data come out however they want it to. But the fact is, you can still catch and spread COVID with the jab, okay? And it's just a bunch of fear mongering. It's a bunch of fear mongering to make people just do what they want them to do. But so now look, so imagine a nurse who was like, they're mandating this jab, let me just go ahead and get it. And then today it's on hold. You see, hold the line. If that's your choice, then hold it. Because they're not gonna get away with this stuff too long. I've been looking at this on the sense of like, man, they could do whatever they want and I want to get out the way. I'll drop some knowledge and I'm just getting out the way. Like, no, my fault. As a Christian, I should know better. I'm going to pray about this even harder. Okay. They cannot get away with this stuff too long. And I sound like this because it's just a lot to watch these people get on here to Omicron. Can it make you more sick? Can it do this? Can it do that? And still to now, they haven't found this person who has their skin falling off from the Omicron. Okay? Everybody's going to be okay. It's the holiday season. Think about the things that you cherish the most. Think about the things that make you happy. Okay? So that's what I have to say about all that. And these are the headlines for today. And we'll see what Joe has planned, but these plans won't last long. Some of these court systems are paying attention. So I'm appreciating that, and it gives me a better feeling about all this hype out here. Not all hype is right, okay? All right, guys, so thank you for joining me on this one, and I'm going to see you at the next video. Bye.